Disclaimer, I own nothing!
What's up, gamers and people who've interacted with women? It's your boy GodzillaMendoza here with another video that has nothing to do with anything. You can keep making that not a Spider-Man channel joke in the comments if you want, but it's your fault for making those views so disproportionate, so stop complaining and listen to me talk about mouse-infested pizza restaurants. I say infested because there's so many different types of Chuck E. Cheese now. The 90s skater Chuck, the Pixar reject guitarist Chuck, and all these severely outdated movie references. I recently attended the famed pizzeria for my sister's birthday party, and I couldn't help but notice all the things wrong with the restaurant now that I never picked up on when I was a pizza-eating 12-year-old without a care in the world. This establishment has a lot of problems, and I feel like they could be making way more dough every year if they address them in some way, pizza or otherwise. Now bear in mind, a lot of criticisms I have with the way things are run might be very specifically geared towards the Chuck E. Cheese in my local area. And the problems it has may not be present in every single store in the chain. But it's not a particularly bad neighborhood, it's not being run into the ground due to health violations, and it's been running a stable enough business to have been open all the way from my childhood until now. So let's assume that my Chuck E. Cheese is a baseline and that all of them look and are run pretty similarly. Give or take one or two of the problems I want to talk about. So here's my pitch for why I should be the new CEO of Chuck E. Cheese. CEO of CEC. It's weird. Alright, let's say they let me in the door after I found out I inherited the company from a long-lost relative, Elvira style. First order of business is clean up the branding within the store itself. I can stand in the middle of the store and turn in a circle and see 3 conflicting designs of the character, and I feel like as a kid, that could just make it confusing and harder to get attached to the image of Chucky if he has no consistency. Look at Ronald McDonald. Even though clowns are fucking terrifying, kids still crack a smile and feel their stomachs gurgle after decades because they've kept the design so recognizable and consistent. Sure, 90s skater Chuck is a little dated, but that could be played up as part of his charm. Or if you want to modernize him, commit the whole way instead of half-assing it and only putting his new design on 1 in 5 objects in the restaurant. Next. Chucky's cast of characters sucks. No one can remember any of these other characters, like this purple whatever guy. What's his name? Mr. Munch? What are his interests? Why do they call him that? They have so much potential to have unique and memorable characters that could in turn equal to all kinds of new toy and merchandise opportunities. But they ignore them and don't do anything with them. Again, going back to the McDonald's comparison, people still remember Grimace and the Hamburglar even if they haven't been used in decades. How about instead of Chucky being this catch-all sports ball guy, have each of his friends specialize in a different outdoor activity and have him stick to skating and maybe guitar. Maybe this purple gorilla thingy is kind of a sci-fi nerd, but he also really likes soccer. Maybe this bird girl over here is sort of like Chucky's will they won't they love interest, and she's a talented rock climber who encourages kids to wear their pads in case they fall because they don't have the benefit of flight like she does. She can just be like really outdoorsy and passionate about nature. Anything's better than nothing, use your heads! If you're gonna get brand tie-ins or parodies, make them relevant. This poster of Chucky as Spider-Man is so old that Green Goblin is still on it. When was the last time Men in Black was relevant, save for the nostalgia-baiting reboot that was inevitably gonna happen in 20 years? Chuckfeld? Okay, every kid in the restaurant is gonna need their dad to explain that one, Jesus. Remember when ER was a thing? I don't. Look, now that you've repaired your lackluster character roster, get a brand tie-in with Marvel or something, and have Chucky and the gang be corresponding Avengers, since that's kinda hot right now. Hell, if you're really desperate, you can ask DC for a tie-in and it'd still kinda work. Just put up newer art on these walls that a little kid is gonna look at and understand or care about, because these kinds of things stick in a kid's mind. It makes them think of Chuck E. Cheese's when they see the official versions of these things, and they might want to come back for their next birthday. Okay, another thing. For the love of God, find something for the adults to do. I don't see the point in serving alcoholic beverages if the place has nothing to do for anyone over the age of, like, 12. Hi, Chucky. Maybe have another section in the place for some of the older kids with some, like, edgier arcade games. I'm not saying you need a Mortal Kombat machine or something, but, like, rail shooters. something. Just like a game that the older siblings and the moms and dads can comfortably play. For one, it would drastically expand the amount of time your customers return, because then the place still has some appeal after they stop being tiny enough to fit into the disgusting unwashed sky tubes. You know what else you can do to make sure you got the interest of your younger patrons on lockdown? Keep the immersion going with Chucky as a real guy who wants to show up at your birthday and make you feel all special-like. At my Chuck E. Cheese, there is a single small stage with one rather unimpressive animatronic on it who barely does anything. The curtain never closes on him, so it really breaks the illusion when the guy in the costume walks right by it and you go, oh, one of them must be fake then. You know, when you're like 3.
He just sits up there all day, performing for the birthdays that no longer go here.
At night, he comes alive and eats people.
And at night, he stuffs people into animatronic suits. Are you drinking my soda?
Give the little guys some wonder and imagination to work with. Make them think that after the curtain closes, Chuck comes from around backstage to hang out with partygoers before his next set with his band of animal musicians. And yes, I know it's expensive, but fucking splurge and get more than just one up there performing. Why do you think people remember Showbiz Pizza so fondly? Not for the pizza. Look at all this stage space wasted by this weird light display that doesn't really look like anything, and these 3 TV monitors that are essentially just background noise. Get that out of here and make the stage bigger. It says a lot when the horror comedy parody of your restaurant has better representation and more likable environment than the real thing, you guys. What else? Oh yeah. Get an employee small enough to clean the sky tubes. It's disgusting in there. It has the texture of a wiffle ball bat covered in pizza grease and pink eye. Every Chuck E. Cheese needs at least one 5-foot-tall employee to get in there and wipe the thing down. Put some padding on the floor. Those kids' knees are destroyed after like 30 seconds in there. Okay, something else that stuck out to me. My sister and I spent a few hours getting tons of tickets from the skee ball and that hit the button at the right time to win 100 tickets thing. We got around 700 during our trip. We walk up with our hard-earned currency at the prize table, and the bored teenager behind the counter goes, alright, what do you want? And then my 11-year-old sister replies with, because the prizes suck. Like, they really suck. Nothing that's affordable really jumps out. It's just stuff like sidewalk chalk or crayons, or really cheap toys you can get at Walgreens for like 50 cents. They have all these plushies of characters that kids don't know/care about, and then these mouse head things. They don't want just Chuck's severed head as a toy. Here, my dad came up with an idea because I was complaining about all this stuff the entire time we were there. How about a toy that's a little mouse-themed robot that's a pizza slicer? They got like a little blade wheel on the bottom, and they could have adorable whiskers or ears or something. They could be like a secondary mascot, and you can draw a cute little art of them working in the kitchen like little helper robots. Plus, you could blame the weird slicing lines on the pizza on them instead of the chef incompetence. Sure, it kind of conflicts with the sports theme of Chucky, but when the hell has his interest in sports ever factored into anything other than being an excuse to sell plush soccer balls that no one wants next to stale cotton candy? I can't exactly give a rundown of an entirely new selection of stuff to have in the prize section, but just generally throw in some more balance. The only cool stuff is so wildly expensive that a kid would need 4 or 5 friends grinding tickets from one of those 100-ticket payout things for a few hours to be able to get. And at that point, only really one of them could enjoy it. If you're gonna have some of the prizes be insanely expensive, make it something multiple kids could enjoy together. Like a board game, or a package of multiple action figures of various cool characters, or like, I don't know, just put a Nintendo console up there with 4 controllers, and whoever's birthday it is gets to be the one who keeps it at their house. And as for the little stuff that one kid could afford on their own, how about something with more longevity than crayons and slinkies and, bracelets? There's 1,000,001 small, cheap toys you can stock that could make neat collectibles to be played with by the childrens. Either commit to using more brand stuff, or make your original stuff more interesting. Or both. Because I realized that ever since I was a kid, I'd walk up to the prize table and I'd have that same reaction my sister did. And my cousins. And my friends. And the other kid in front of us in line who we've never met. It was all the same confounded, elongated groan of indecision and pressure from tired parents looking over your shoulder and fighting back the urge to just shout, Jesus Christ, just pick something already. I like Chuck E. Cheese. When I was a kid, it was an amazing place that me and everyone else my age loved going to. But these days, I get the suspicion that interest is dwindling because the company makes such poor decisions with how the stores are run. Plus, their public image is probably in shambles right now because of that guy in blackface accusing them of recycling pizzas like a Futurama joke.
You recycle everything, and that sandwich you're eating is made from old discarded sandwiches. Nothing just gets thrown away.
The future is disgusting.
Typical 20th century attitude.
And it doesn't help that there's a mega popular franchise of games poking fun at their theme and implying these restaurants are a hotbed of murders and confusing half-baked lore. Scott Cawthon proved that you really can tell an epic saga by just being very vague and obtuse about the details, and then making it up as you go along only to pretend in the end that you had it planned out from the beginning. He should write Star Wars movies. Anyway, I submit this video as my formal campaign for presidency of the company, and I guarantee that under my leadership, you cheeseheads will be making more cash than your restaurant has dirty, small fingerprints on it.
Do you know what I don't get about Chuck E. Cheese? I mean, look at all these famous little mouses, you know? Look at all these dudes. Look at them. Now look at Chuck E. fucking Cheese. What's wrong with him? Why is he this dirty little gray color? Who designed this mouse? He looks fucking disgusting. Why? Anyway, I edited this video, so if you want more mouse-related content, subscribe to me because I'm releasing episode 164 of a mouse review. This one's gonna be a good one. This one's gonna be a doozy.